Hello everybody and welcome back. In this video we're going to be adding logic to our chat page so that every time a user actually starts to type inside of our chat page using the keyboard like this, we can actually update the value for the specific chat document inside of Firestore to have isActivity be true so that a actual chats list actually shows the correct activity indicator here when somebody's actually typing in the chat. So with that said, let's get into it and let's see how to do it. So the way we're going to be doing this is that we're going to be listening to keyboard events, so the keyboard opening up or closing. And depending upon that, when the keyboard opens up, we are going to set the isActivity thing to be false or true, and when the keyboard is shut off, then it'll be false. So with that said, let's get into it and let's see how we're going to be doing it. So the first step to this process is going to be for us to actually go and create some variables inside of our chat page provider. So underneath of my stream subscription, I'm going to create another subscription, which is also going to be a stream subscription, but this subscription is going to listen to keyboard events, and I'm going to call this keyboard visibility stream. With this, what I'll do then is that I'll also create another controller that we require, which is called a keyboard visibility controller, and this is provided to us by the package which is called the Flutter keyboard package that we imported, and I'll call this underscore keyboard, and then I'll call this visibility controller, and then I'll add a semicolon as well and do command save. Once this is done, the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the chat page provider's constructor, and where we get our navigation service assigned, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take my keyboard visibility controller and I'm going to set that equal to be a new instance of keyboard, and it's not working, and that's because the keyboard B needs to be lowercase, and I'll call this new instance of keyboard visibility controller and do command save. So now that our keyboard visibility controller has been assigned a value, we can use it. So similar to what we did for listening to recent messages, I'm going to create another function, and I'll call this listen, and I'm going to call this listen to, and then keyboard changes. And then I'm going to add the parentheses and add the semicolon too. Then I'm going to come down to where I was created my actual listen to messages function, and underneath of that I'm going to create a new function, and I'm going to call that void, and then I'll call this listen to keyboard and then changes, and then open the function definition. Inside of here, what I'll say is that I'll set the keyboard visibility stream, so it's going to be keyboard visibility stream, and that's going to be equal to our keyboard visibility controller, the controller that we had just created, and on that we are going to use the onChange stream, and then we're going to add a listener function to it, and the listener function is going to give us an event every time, and the event is going to be a true or a false boolean value depending upon whether the keyboard was open or not. So I'm going to rename the event to be underscore event. I'm going to add a semicolon just so that we don't get the error. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use our database service, and then I'm going to call the update chat data function. So the update chat data function requires us to pass it a chat ID, which we have. So I'm going to do chat ID, and then expects us to pass it a data, and the data is going to be a map. So I'm going to add these curly brackets, so not squares, sorry, curly brackets, and inside of there I'll add the key for which I'd like to update the value, and I'll call that isActivity. And then what I'll do is that I'll define the value for isActivity to be the underscore event value, and with this what I'll do is that I'll add a semicolon here as well, because we actually need to add a semicolon after this function call, and then I'm going to add a comma, just do Alt-Shift-F command save, and that's pretty much all we had to do for listening to keyboard changes. So I'm going to restart my application just so that we can make sure that everything gets initialized properly. I'm going to go to one of the chats, so this is the group chat, and I'm going to go to Firestore to the group chat, as you can see, and we can see for now that the isActivity is false. So now if I go back and I click on the keyboard, and then I open the keyboard by doing Command-Shift-K on iOS, and I go back, the value for isActivity is now true. And if I go back and I close the keyboard by doing Command-Shift-K, and then I just send a message, and I go back, you're going to say that the value for isActivity is now false. So when the keyboard opens, it gets to true, and when the keyboard closes, it goes to false. And that's pretty much all we had to do. So now if I go back to the chat and I go and I manually update the value for his activity to, instead of be false, be true, because now it's actually working programmatically as well, and I click update and I go back, you're going to see that our list view actually gets updated correctly as well, and we can see this typing indicator of who's typing. So I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go to the isActivity Boolean value, and I'll change that, and now I'll set that to be false. And do update, and then go back, and the value is updated. So with that, we've successfully implemented all of the logic that our chat page had to constitute, such as showing images, showing image messages, showing text messages, having a beautiful UI, allowing us to delete a message, allowing us to send messages, and as well as maintaining state. And with that, we can conclude this module here, and I'll see you guys in the next module, in which we're going to be working on the last part of our application, which is going to be our users page. So with that, good job, everybody, and I hope that you've enjoyed the course thus far. I'll see you guys in the next module. Thank you for watching.